nights we let go, and I'm hoping that they figure out it's all about the scenery around the route. No fear. Sometimes I like to get wasted. Sometimes I like to get faded. Sometimes I forgot what I was gonna say. Right.
Hello everyone. Damn, I look rough. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to go from this into this. That was probably dramatic as hell. In the interest of time, I already primed and prepped my skin. I used my Tarte Drink of H20 moisturizer, and for primer, I used my Dr. Brandt Pores No More primer. I'm trying to get it out to show you guys. First thing I'm going to do is pull my hair back. By the way, I filmed a hair tutorial on how to get this, like, you know, big voluminous curls. I will link that video down below if any of you guys are interested. So I'm just going to pull up, wrong way. I'm going to pull this back. I don't know how people do their like makeup with their hair and their face. I am incapable of doing that. So the foundation I'm going to be using is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation. This is in the color Caramel. This is a really high coverage foundation. The best way I like to use it is to mix it in with a different foundation. So I'm going to use this as my main foundation. So I'm going to pump, I would say maybe a pump and a quarter, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of my Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation, which is also in the shade Caramel, and I'm just going to put this on the back of my hand. You guys know the way that I like to apply my foundation is first going in with a dual fiber brush, so I'm going to take a little bit of this and stipple it on my face. And now to make sure that I still have, you know, moisture in my face, I'm going to take whatever is left on the back of my hand with my sponge and just go over my entire face, making sure there's no streaking or anything like that on my face. Moving on to concealer, I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape in the color Tan Sand. And then to set all of that concealer, I'm going in with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. This is in the color Medium. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Better Skin Powder in the color Coconut. And I'm just going to kind of push the product into my skin, not really disturbing the foundation that we applied. And I'm also going to use this powder to wipe away any excess that I have under my eyes, because I don't want any type of like flashback or anything like that. For bronzer, I'm obviously going in with my Hulla Benefit Bronzer like I always do. And before I put this away, I'm actually going to go in with this Luxie mini angle brush, and what I've been really liking to do is take a little bit of this bronzer and put a little bit in the center of my Cupid's bow. By doing this, it's going to make your like top lip look a little bit more fuller, a little bit more pouty, which is what I like. So for blush, I'm going in with something different, and I'm going in with the L'Oreal Infallible Paints Blush Palette. I did not purchase this. This was actually given to me in my influencer box, I think that's what you call them. These are not the best blushes. I will be honest. They are just a little bit like kind of chalky. They are pigmented, I'm not going to lie, but I don't know, they're not the best, but they're not the worst either, so that's why I'm going to be using it. If you are on a budget and you want to buy a blush palette but you don't want to break the bank, this is something that's not too bad. I'm going to mix these two shades right here. Really quickly, I'm going to go in with my DermaBlend Loose powder, and I'm going to bake under my contour just because I want to make sure it's nice and clean and sharp. So I'm going to put that here and that right here. While that is baking, I'm going to move on to highlighter, and I'm going in with the Ofra Beverly Hills highlighter, and I'm going to be taking this gold shade and this pink shade and mixing them together. I'm actually going to wet my brush a little bit with my Slay All Day setting spray. We go down, then we go down together. They say we could do anything. They say that I was clever. I'm I'm going to take that dual fiber brush again and just brush away this baking that I have under here. Before I move on to eyes and zoom you guys in, I'm going to take my Dinavia, the makeup finishing spray. I'm just going to mist my face just to make sure all the powder is nice and melted. Per usual, I did do the other eye off camera, so this is what we're going to be doing today. And I used the Juvias Place, the Masquerade mini palette. First color I'm going to be going into is Burkina, and I'm picking this up with a big fluffy brush. What I'm going to be doing is first tapping the shadow on the outer V and the inner corners, and then blending it up into my crease. And I'm just going to be taking my time and building the shadow up. So I'm going in with a second fluffy brush, and I'm going to be mixing Zulu and Data, which is these two colors right here. But I am picking up mostly Zulu. So I'm doing the same thing with this shadow as well, where I'm just packing the color on the outer V as well as the inner corner. And then with just a little bit more precision, I'm just going to blend it into the crease. I am going to go back in with that first blending brush that we used and just very lightly buff out those edges. Now to deepen up the outer V as well as the inner corner, I'm going to be taking a smaller but still fluffy brush, and what I'm going to be doing is picking up this shade right here, which is Fulani, and I'm only packing on the shadow on one side of the brush so I have more control. Again, doing the same thing where I'm just tapping the product on that outer V and the inner corners, and then just going to buff it in. Now obviously if you want the outer V and inner corners to be much more deeper, you can go in with a deeper shade if you like, but I'm going to leave it just as is, and I'm going to go back in with the first two blending brushes that we used, which are these two, and I'm going to first use that second one and buff out the edges, and then I'm going to go in with the Sigma brush and then buff out those edges which are closer to my brows. Now for the lids, I'm going to be taking this flat shader brush right here, and I'm going to be picking up Casablanca, which is this shade right here. And then I'm actually going to spray my brush with a little bit of setting spray, and I'm only placing the shadow in the very centers of my lid. And now that you have that, I'm going to kind of wipe off the brush off a towel here, and I'm going to be mixing these two shadows right here, and then once again spraying my brush with that setting spray and applying the shadow right on top. You see how that gives it like that extra dimension, but it's still nice and bronzy because that's your base. Obviously this looks a little crazy because the edges are not blended out, but we're going to be taking that brush that we used the darkest shade with, and I'm just going to very lightly buff out those edges. Now what you're going to want to do is apply some liner. I'm going to be using the NYX Epic Ink Liner, and I'm just applying a straight line. I'm not applying any wing or anything this time. That is on. I'm going to move on to my lower lash line, and I'm going to first tightline and apply some black liner in my waterline. And the one that I'm using is the Lottie London AM to PM Khol liner. Now I'm taking Fulani, and I'm just going to blend out my lower lash line with the shade. This is basically it for the eyes. I'm just going to move on to my brow bone and inner corner highlight, and I'm taking the same Ofra highlighter in Beverly Hills.
If we go down, then we go down together.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to apply some lashes and mascara, and I will be right back. Now lashes and mascara is on, and for lashes I use my Eylure Definitions number 126 lash. For mascara I use my L'Oreal Teloscopic Carbon Black Mascara. Now like I said before, this is the same eye look that I wore for my hair tutorial, but I will say and let you guys know that I did use a different lash in that tutorial. All I did was take some Ardell wispy lashes, cut them in half, and I only put them on the outer corners. But for this one I figured I would put a full lash because since the video is dedicated to the eye look. Now the only thing that is left is lips. and I am going to line my lips with the only lip liner that I practically use, and you guys should know this by now. It is the Wet n Wild Color Iconic Lip Liner in the color Chestnut Maroon. The lipstick that I wore for that video was this NudeStix Magnetic Matte Lip Color. This is in the color Boho. I feel like these matte lipsticks from NudeStix are so underrated. I don't know why people don't use them more. So this is the end of the look, guys. I hope you guys will like the video. If you do, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, comment down below, and also please to subscribe if you haven't already. Bye!
She used to be the sweetest.